Brown Bag Business Chat, lunchtime marketing and development topics to chew on, presented by Blue Steel Solutions. Welcome to the Brown Bag Business Chat. Today we have Jami Mays with Imaj Works, a Genesis-focused website development firm out of Athens. Jami, tell us a little bit about what you do and who you do it for.
I mostly do branding, content creation, and web development with Genesis. And in the last year, most of my client focus has shifted to counselors, therapists, life coaches, what I call the helper set. It's been a really sort of natural referral-based niche that's been developing. So I spend most of my day fiddling with PHP and CSS. That's pretty much the core of it.
So we brought Jami on today because Jami had a really interesting take on setting boundaries in our business, and it was something that I hadn't really even put a lot of thought into or set down any kind of strict, hard and fast rules for myself. So to kick things off here, why don't we start with talking about what are boundaries for your business and why do you need them?
I'm going to pull up Chris Lema and tell you a story. 6 months ago, my brother-in-law, who is in IT and owns his own IT company here in Athens, he came over. He was picking up or dropping off his kids. Our kids are the same age, and we just kind of started talking. It was a very sort of organic, natural thing, but he really challenged me on setting boundaries in my business. I was getting burned out. I was feeling frustrated. Our whole family was feeling stretched. I was really close to thinking about going and just getting a regular job because I was really tired of the hustle. And he asked me how many hours a week I worked. And I was like, I don't know. Like actually physically working, like billable hours? And he's like, no, like actual working. And I couldn't tell you. And my husband chimed in and shared that he felt like, you know, when I had my laptop open in the evening, you know, sometimes I'm farting around on Facebook, but, you know, I'll get a client email and I'll go look at something, and he knows that I'm working, and I'm trying to be like, oh, no, I'm not working. Like, so what I realized was that I just did not have any clear boundaries, and I was feeling stretched and invaded by my work because I was not telling my work where it needed to belong. So that said, I feel like for me personally, and I think a lot of people, setting boundaries is my most authentic form of self-care. Like, it is the best way that I can take care of myself. I think as entrepreneurs, I mean, if you ask anybody who's self-employed, like how they're doing, they'll probably tell you they're tired. They'll probably tell you they're busy, which is fine. We want to be busy, but you know, I made a conscious decision about 6 months ago to stop letting my work tell me what to do, and it's been super liberating.
That's awesome. I love that you mentioned that when you ask an entrepreneur how things are going, they always say, oh, it's busy. You know, it's great, it's busy, but you don't hear very many of us say, you know, oh, I'm really happy right now, or I feel like I'm really taking care of myself, or we don't normally mention things that are going on with our families or our personal lives. It's always work is busy, got a lot of work to do, and that's great. But underneath that is the stress and the overwhelm that comes with always being busy, always being on. That's such an awesome point. So keeping that in mind, how do we decide for ourselves, especially those of us who are very small businesses or even just a single person business, how do we decide what's fair and what's realistic?
I think I used to use this analogy when I taught people how to use Facebook for their business. This was years ago. I would tell people that we need to respect our customers when we're posting things on Facebook, because we're in a computer. Our status updates are in a computer, but we're sitting in somebody's lap in their lounge chair in their living room, and so we need to treat that relationship with respect. And I think that you know, if I wouldn't have my laptop open at the dinner table while my family was eating dinner, it's not appropriate for me to have my phone open looking at an email. And so for me, I have to take like a real literal stance on, you know, what am I supposed to be doing right now? And if right now is dedicated to work, then I'm working. And if my son is home from school, I'm not working anymore. That, for me, that's kind of the boundary. When he goes to school, when he comes home from school, that period of time is my window for working. And so do I answer emails after he's home? Of course. You know, do I answer emails on the weekends? Sometimes. But I try to set myself some real classic 9 to 5, Monday through Friday hours. And I'm not hosting people's websites for them. I'm not, configuring and hosting their email accounts for them. I'm designing their website. And if there's a problem with their website, it can wait until morning. Like, if it's an incredible emergency, somebody can call me. But otherwise, it can wait until morning. My life and my family is much more important than a widget that's out of line or a button that doesn't work. When we actually think of it in literal terms like that, it seems silly to think that, I'll tell my husband, well, it's just this one thing I need to fix, and he's like, wide-eyed, like, that's more important than whatever, So you kind of have to let yourself get clocked in the head with the literal interpretation of what you're doing.
Right. So an important part of setting those boundaries is not just the times, but the type of work that fits with your life goals and your business goals as well. So, for example, you mentioned the hosting situation, which is a great example there. The work that you're doing is very different than someone who's hosting, an e-commerce site that generates revenue 24/7 for a client. So it seems like part of setting the boundaries is saying, this is the kind of work that works for my lifestyle, for my goals, for what I want to do with my business, and this is the kind of work that doesn't. And then really deciding on a case-by-case basis which projects you're going to take on, which clients you're going to work with, and what fits that model or those boundaries that you've set for yourself and what doesn't.
Yeah, I think if we really boil it down, you have to know who your target market is. I hate that sort of language because it feels so like, know your target market, but like, really, who do you want to work with? Like, I want to work with people who are probably creative but don't have creative careers. Like, that's just generally what I want. And you don't really find out what you want until you work with someone you don't want. And we've all had a client that we may have cherished and loved as a person, but was not a fun working relationship. And just like in a relationship with a person, after the relationship is over, you have to reflect. Like, at what point did I realize this wasn't good for me? And then we have to look for those red flags when we're talking with new clients. I think sometimes we can get motivated by money, like, ooh, here's a big project, here's a big client, or crap, Christmas is coming, I need to take on some more work. And we end up working with people that are not our people. It leaves us drained and exhausted, and we don't have fun with it. We may not be the best fit for those clients, but I think one of the first ways that you can sort of filter out people that are not your clients, this is really like your first boundary, I think, is in the copy on your website. This is the place where I think a lot of people fall short is, they have an about page, they have a services page, and that's it. And like, customers come to me. But what you really have to do on a services page is outline what you do and what you do not do, and outline who you're looking for, like who your client is. My website works for me in that sense that it filters out the people that I don't think I want to work with. Working with me, you're going to get a heavy dose of sarcasm, a heavy dose of profanity, real talk, humor. Like, that's just kind of how I am. And my website, I feel like, reflects that. I think my clients take me seriously, but they don't take me too seriously because I don't want them to, So, your copy really is your first filter in setting some of those boundaries.
And that's such a great point. I think a lot of people, we see this a lot with our clients where, well, who's your target market? Who are you working with? What type of client or what type of consumer? are you targeting? And it's everyone. Oh, everyone 18 to 84, male, female, doesn't matter. Anybody. No. That is step number one in creating overwhelm and really unhappy clients by trying to target everyone. So I love the idea of using your website copy or even just the way that you're asking for referrals, the way you're introducing yourself to new businesses to really target in and say, no, this is what we do and who we do it for, and because we focus just on those things, we do it better than anyone else does.
Yeah. Well, and also what you're doing when you're specializing like that and when you're really being specific with people about who you're looking for is, I try not to look at it as me telling someone no. I just tell them it's not me, and I'm not turning them away. I'm just letting them know, no, thank you. Like,
Right.
it's not a personal thing. It's never like I don't want your work. I mean, I would love your money. If you want to give me your money, that's fine. But ultimately, I can look at this. I mean, I got a query this week for a huge website, 1,000 products on a e-commerce software I've never heard of, wanting to move to another e-commerce software that I don't use. And I was like, this isn't me. I just replied, like, this isn't me. I can put you in touch with some other people, but this isn't me. And by pushing that kind of work out of the way, it gives me room and space to have the ability to take on the clients that I want to work with. If I've got 6 clients that I'm working with right now, and 2 of them are exhausting, and and 2 of them are people I really want to work with, all of them are going to suffer because I'm not working with people that I actually want to work with, people that mesh with me, people that match me.
Right. So I know you also have some systems that you've put in place that help you sort of automate this process of maintaining your boundaries. What are some of those things that you use to enforce your own rules or keep those boundaries and keep yourself from, because we're all pulled to do it, and it's so hard sometimes to follow our own rules or stay within those boundaries. And, oh, like you said, just this one tweak that I need to do, or it's Saturday morning, nobody's up yet, let me just go ahead and start working. And even though now the kids are coming out and they're on the couch watching TV, 2 hours of work have somehow slipped into my day.
Mm-hmm.
How do you use systems or automation, things that are sort of no-brainers for you to keep yourself inside of those boundaries?
I took my email off my phone. It was really scary when I did it, and I was kind of an impulsive decision because I would get emails in the carpool line or at a red light, and I would look at them and then I would mark them as unread with the intention of going back to my email later and reading them. But it was just sort of sweeping it under a rug of overwhelm, and I would later circle back to my email and be like, whoa, I have so many emails to reply to. Or I would, they'd fall through the cracks. I would have an email that 4 days went by and I forgot to reply to it because it fell off to the 3rd and 4th page of my Gmail. So the first thing I did was, it was really an act of desperation. I took Gmail off my phone. And I could, it's still on there. I have an Android, so I can't totally remove it. It's built in. But I can go in if I need to and I can refresh it and it will open up the unread email messages. But I don't have any notifications. It is not set up to sync. That is one of the biggest things to me that has been liberating and given me boundaries, and it really has nothing to do with my clients. It's got to do with my time is my time, and if I have my computer with me, I can check my email there. If I go pick up my kid at the library, I could check my email there. What did we used to do before we didn't have our phones? We were productive business people. 10 years ago, there were, decades of people running successful businesses long before everybody had their email in their pocket. So that was the first thing. And the tool that I put into place with my clients that really helped with that was Trello. And Trello is a project management tool. It's free to use. It's also really easy for my clients to use. I've tried probably a half a dozen different project management tools, and they either are way over the top, really robust, built for teams, or they are way too simple and they don't give me all the features that I need. But Trello is great. It's you can imagine it kind of like a bulletin board, and you have different sections of a bulletin board, and you put different Post-it notes on the board, and that's it. When you finish something, you file it away. You can tag people in it. There's labels. You can put due dates on things. Like, there's all these cool features on it. But what I told my clients when I found Trello and I realized that it worked for me was, this is how you contact me. It wasn't, if you can understand it, it'd be great if you could mention it on Trello instead of emailing me. It was, you are now my client, so don't email me anymore. Because if you email me, it will get lost in the shuffle. My email is for new clients, newsletters, sharing of files if they're too big to go on Trello. I mean, really, my email is like an inbox on my desk, which is what your email is supposed to be. You know, it's not supposed to be a project management tool. It's impossible to keep things straight in Gmail. So with Trello, every single one of my clients gets a Trello. And I would say of the clients that in the last 6 months that have been using Trello with me on our project, there's probably at least 6 or 8 of them that have gone on to create their own Trello boards for all kinds, you know, with their husbands and their business partners and their employees, and it's turned into a great support tool. But I have Trello on my phone, and I get Trello notifications when they come through, and I can choose to reply or not reply. But it's not in my inbox. It's not like a chronological view of things that have happened. It's a topic view of things that we're working on. So Trello really has been like my grand liberator. And if a client emails me and it's not in Trello, I try to respond pretty quickly. And if it's the first time, I remind them about their Trello board and just kind of gently nudge them and remind them about their Trello board. But it's been so great to have a place that's not my inbox where I can manage my clients' stuff. You know, I have Trello boards for login information for different versions of my clients' logos, for stuff that we're working on now. Most of my client boards have a Jami do this and a client do this board. And they'll add things to one board and I'll add things to another board. So it's proven to be a really great tool. I've only probably had maybe 2 clients who couldn't get it. They were just older clients who didn't really understand the computer in general. But Trello is my #1 boundaries tool because my inbox is not the place to carry on conversations. Like, it all happens, if it's related to a project, it has to happen in Trello.
I love that. That's awesome. And so the 2 clients who didn't get it, couldn't use Trello, does that kind of go back to your boundaries list of, I'm only going to work with clients who are tech savvy enough to understand this and work in this way, so that I don't continue to get pulled down this path of, well, I'll use email with you because you're special and you need that help, and then another one comes along, oh, okay, well, I'll make a special exception for you as well. Does that help you build your boundaries in another way?
Probably subconsciously, yeah. I mean, I think if somebody comes to me and they want to work together, and I'm like, okay, well, we're going to set up Trello, and this is how I manage projects, and if they immediately balk at it, it's probably a good indicator for me that, you know, maybe my, like, spidey senses are tingling. Like, you know, I don't know that I'm super aware of it necessarily, but I would say it has been enough. You know, the last 2 months I haven't had any of my clients balk at it. All of my clients have been like, ooh. I think everybody is looking for something to help them get their crap organized.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like my gift to them when we start working together.
And then you also use a tool for scheduling meetings, right? So tell us about how you handle client phone or FaceTime and keeping that in a structured way that doesn't get overwhelming for you.
So I've used, again, maybe 6 to 8 different scheduling tools. I paid for premium versions of all these different, I'm not going to name them off because that's not what we're here to do, but the one that I'm using right now is called Calendly, and it's developed by a University of Georgia graduate. So because I'm in Athens, Georgia, I found out about it locally, and I signed up for it while it was in beta and was immediately in love with the simplicity of the design. There's not, you know, a whole lot of crazy stuff happening. It's mobile responsive, so there's no need for a separate app. And basically what you do with Calendly is you create event types, and then you can control each event type separately from one another. So I have 3 different event types that I use with my clients. Schedule a new, like an appointment to talk about a new project, what I call a grind session, which is when we talk about an existing project, and a training session. And the training session, it's pretty clear when you look at it that these are sessions you pay for. So when somebody schedules those appointments, it's already specifying some boundaries. Like, you can't schedule an hour with me to teach you how to do something unless you pay for it. So, and that's another thing. One of those features Calendly is working on is integrating Stripe payments with it, which I think once that happens, it's going to be like, amazing. But one of the things that I really love about Calendly is I can tell it, like for new client appointments, for example, I can really only do one of those a day, because when I meet with a new client and I start talking with them about their project, you know, I am very right and left brained, and so I immediately start talking about the problem solving and about the creative stuff. And if I do two of those in a day, the 2 client projects will start to kind of, in my head, blend and mix up. So I have it set where I can only have one of those a day. So if you schedule a new client session with me on Tuesday, nobody else can schedule on Tuesday. The next available appointment is on Wednesday for that kind of event. And so that alone has given me a whole lot of freedom, because it without me doing anything, it pushes my appointments further out. And for me, it's not, you know, I don't want somebody to feel like when they go to my scheduler, you know, you can't schedule for 2 weeks because I'm so desirable and so busy. If we spend all of our time scheduling and talking to people, we don't do any work. So we've got to have some time in our day to do some work. One of the things that I set up in Calendly was that you can't schedule an appointment within 72 hours. So you can't schedule a new client appointment and talk to me today or tomorrow or the next day. You know, we're gonna push it out, because I want to give you an opportunity to get your stuff in order, to think about what you're going to talk to me about, and I want to give myself time to research you and look you up and run you through my Google foo and determine if I do want to work with you before I even talk to you sometimes. So Calendly is awesome, and I think they just moved out of beta like a month ago. It's like $10 a month, so it's like well within the budget to pay my digital assistant to schedule my appointments for me. So
yeah, that's great. We did get a question. The name of that tool is Calendly, Calendly, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yep.
And I'm sure after this chat, Jamie can send out a link to that with the hashtag VBBchat, which is what we use to keep track of questions and comments on this Hangout. So when we talked a little bit about how you set expectations with your clients, let them know we're going to communicate through Trello. If you need time with me, this is how you book it. Are there any other ways that you're communicating your boundaries to your clients? For example, I know our friend Matt Cromwell, he uses his email signature. If you send him an email, you get back, these are my working hours, this is when you can expect to hear back from me. Basically saying, if you're emailing me at 3 o'clock on Saturday morning, too bad. I'll talk to you on Monday if I have time. If not, maybe Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you handle that outside of Trello and Calendly? Are there any other tools that you use, or just on your onboarding calls, the ways that you're setting those expectations?
I think one of my sort of tenets of myself is authenticity. I am what I am wherever I am. If you meet me at a local event, I'm pretty much going to be the same person. If we get to know each other, I'll probably complain to you, because that's what I do. I will testify. I'll probably tease you at some point in our working relationship together. You know, like this is kind of who I am. It's who I am with my friends. It's who I am with my family. It's who I am with my clients. And I think for me, the most liberating thing has been having one persona, because then I don't have to maintain a whole lot of different things happening. I think when I started my business, I felt like I had to have like this professional Jami, you know, and you know, I had to have like really professional headshots and like a really cute briefcase and like a really great laptop case. And, you know, like if I was going to work in a coffee shop, I wanted people to look at me and think, ooh, wow, she's a big deal. I don't care about any of that stuff anymore. I feel like carrying on like we are someone that we're not is a huge hindrance to our own growth. And so for me, with my clients, you know, you can do a little bit of Googling and find out anything you want to find out about me. I mean, there are no secrets with me. And having a very realness about myself with my clients kind of gives them the freedom to have some realness with me and like recognize that I'm a human and not just this magic interneter who like makes things come out of midair on the internet, you know. If I'm sick, you know, I let my clients know, like, hey, I'm sick. Like last year, I fell really ill and was in the hospital for 5 days, and I just emailed all of my clients that I had open, and I was like, hey, this is what's going on, and I was terrified that they would be like, well, I have to have my website tomorrow, and like run away and like ditch me or whatever. Every single one of them was like, wait until you're well. You know, like, let's circle back on this. And they gave me 6 solid weeks to recover. And I was thinking about their projects, but I sure wasn't working on them. And I feel like when we respect ourselves as humans and not just business people, other people see us as both things as well. I think, you know, we get out what we put in. If we are trying to be this, you know, do-it-all business person who's like pushing out products all the time and doing like phenomenal things and speaking here and doing this and doing that, like eventually you crumble. Like eventually you burn out. And I want my clients to look at me as a talented human, and that's all. You know, if I can solve some problems for them along the way, great. I'll send them an invoice. But outside of that, I feel like, you know, the most liberating thing in terms of just a shift in myself was recognizing that I want my clients to see me as a human. I want my clients to see me mess up or drop the ball or apologize or be humble or whatever, you know, like those sorts of situations open you up to a real human connection with your clients that I think is oftentimes we overlook because we're so busy with the work, you know, that we don't remember to just be human to each other.
So what happens, how do you reset when you do cross your own boundaries? You find yourself working too much outside of those designated work times, you're answering emails on the weekend, you're letting things slide with clients not going straight to your project management tool and sending you the emails. These clear boundaries you've made for yourself, you're bound to step outside of them. What's your technique for resetting and getting yourself back on track?
I think the first thing is that I don't beat myself up about it. If I've got a pressing deadline and I know that I'm going to have to work on the weekend over it, I let my husband know, I let my son know, you know, like, everybody needs to know I'm not stealing away to try to sneak work. Like, I need to work right now. And when that happens, it happens. I mean, it's only natural that sometimes variables are going to make things shift. Like, I think that's the first thing for me is to not beat myself up about it and to communicate with the people that are in my life that this is actually, I'm conscious, I'm aware, this is what I'm doing right now. But I think when we start to slip, for me, I recognize it in my level of overwhelm. When I start to put my head on my pillow at night and I'm like, my mind is racing, I take a day off. And it seems counterproductive when you're feeling completely overwhelmed and swamped with work to like not work for a day. But I think sometimes you need the clarity of being unplugged to sort of recalibrate yourself. Like for example, I have just now recently started taking Thursdays off from my computer. I still do a little doodling and work and research and reading and things like that that are related to my industry, but I generally don't open my computer because I go to therapy, and I do better at therapy on Thursdays if I give myself some space to like be and think and clear my head. And it's been great. So I'm working 4 days a week instead of 5 days a week. Do I feel more overwhelmed? Nope. It's better, like it's actually better. So, I don't think the answer ever is when you're feeling like your boundaries are getting fuzzy to like beat yourself up about it. But I just think for me, it's learning how to be more present and more aware of what's happening with me. Is my neck sore? Like, does my butt hurt from sitting too long? Like, when's the last time I got some sun? Like just being, I think for me, it all boils down to that self-care and being more aware of how I'm doing and using that as a tool to kind of figure out where I'm at on the spectrum.
That's really great. Well, I see that we're running right up against our 30-minute time here, so I do want to thank you for coming and joining us today. I think that this was some amazing information. I can't wait to go back into my own business and see what I can do to kind of whittle down the extra time that I'm spending on things that really should fall outside of my own personal boundaries. Is there anything you want to add in closing about how this has had an effect on your business since you decided to make these clear boundaries?
I'm making more money. I'm working less and making more money, which seems completely counterintuitive. Like, doesn't seem like it would make sense, but I think for me, what it's done is it's given me more space to be a little bit more conscious and aware of the people that I'm interviewing for potential projects, and when I'm sitting down with them, I'm actually deciding what I want to do with the project, and do I want to work on the project. And it has created this sort of natural ripple effect in my referrals, because I'm working with less people, so I'm not taking on as many clients. The referrals are still the same, and people are like, "Oh, I want to work with Jami." Like, it feels like cocky to say that, but that's been the last 3 months. That's really been my life. Is I have done work for people that I only the people I want to work for. It's opened up opportunities for ongoing consulting work with clients that I really treasure, like that I really like working with, that I would probably work for free for, but I shouldn't.
Don't say that. Don't say that. They might be listening.
They probably are, but the people that value me, are the ones that are sticking around. When you put your foot down and you set some real boundaries for yourself, all the other stuff shakes away, and the people that are left are people that really value you. And so for me, it's been less overwhelm, less hours, more money, more happiness, more family time. I should do more exercising. Maybe that's the next thing.
Awesome. Well, I'm so happy to hear that this is having such a positive effect in your business, in your personal life. It's a great thing for your family, and I think that's something that we can all relate to on so many levels. Before we wrap up here, are there any upcoming events, special things going on in your area or just in your niche that you want to let people know about?
The place where I co-work in Athens is called the Quadco. It's 304 Athens. If you're in Athens, it's free co-working on Wednesdays, so you can come by and check out the space and join up or something. That would be cool. And my son's band concert is tomorrow night, his first band concert, playing the trombone. So.
Oh, that's going to be adorable. I am looking forward to seeing the videos of that on Facebook. That'll be so much fun. Well, over in my neck of the woods, we have a few things coming up on Friday this week. We have our new member orientation for the Denton Chamber of Commerce. I don't know what time that starts. I think it's at 10 o'clock, but check the website. And then immediately following that is our networking lunch, which is typically at noon. I did not write down the time, so check the website. That's this Friday. Our monthly membership mixer is going to be October 23rd, which is a Thursday at 5 o'clock. It's going to be at the Classic dealership on 35. And the last big one that we have coming up is going to be our Women in Commerce event, which is a luncheon on Friday, October 24th at 11 o'clock. That's going to be an awesome panel of very successful women business owners in North Texas who are going to talk to us about mistakes they made, what they learned from it, how they've gotten to where they're at in their businesses. That's going to be really exciting. And then, of course, next week on Wednesday at noon Central, we have our next Brown Bag Business Chat. This one's going to feature Carrie Dills, our own lovely local. Carrie's going to be talking about how to plan a word camp or really any large niche event for the first time. We just wrapped up Word Camp DFW this weekend, so it'll be really exciting to hear her talk about what they did for planning. There wasn't a Word Camp here for, I think, like 8 years or something like that, so they had to really start from scratch to bring that event back to town. So if you're looking at planning a Word Camp in your area or planning any kind of large niche event, this is going to be one that you don't want to miss because Carrie pulled it off perfectly. So we will see you next Wednesday at noon Central on the Brown Bag Business Chat.
Bye.